medical, behavioural or situational. Changes may mean the person needs additional support, assessment or treatment. All changes need to be reported. With regard to hygiene and grooming, you may notice changes in the client's physical health, their cognitive abilities or their behaviour and emotional health. How you report these changes will depend on how quickly support or assessment is needed and on your workplace guidelines. You may report by telephone, face-to-face with your supervisor or a health professional, or in a written report. By reporting changes in a client's physical or medical condition promptly, the client can be assessed by a health professional and receive any treatment or additional support they need.
That's good. You've been with us now.
Mental illness, intellectual disability or dementia can affect a client's ability to clearly express their needs. In such situations, you may be able to discuss the difficulties with the client's carer or request that a health professional assess the client's needs.
Onto the end of your nose.
There are many hazards and risks involved in assisting with hygiene and grooming tasks. You need to identify and deal with risks to prevent or reduce the chance that clients, their family members, other staff and yourself will be harmed. Hazards may include behaviours that put the client or others at risk of harm, injury or illness. For example, a client may be angry, aggressive or act in a physically or sexually inappropriate manner. Information about identified risks will be in the client's care plan. This alerts workers to the risk and provides strategies for managing the risk. It is important that you follow these instructions carefully. Discuss any risks and safety issues with your supervisor. Collecting, reporting and storing information is an important part of your job. Information is recorded so that it can be easily shared between workers and others involved in the care of a client. This information must be complete, factual and accessible. Your workplace will have procedures and systems to manage how information is collected, used and stored. Workplace reports and documents commonly used in aged care, disability services or home and community care services include personal information forms, initial health assessments, personal care plans, case documentation, and incident and accident reports. You should always use objective language based on fact and observation to complete reports and documents. Objective language describes what has been observed or heard, while subjective language may be based on your own feelings, emotions or opinions. There are organisational and legal requirements about who completes documents, when they must be completed, and how and where the information is stored.
James Watt, he's okay.
For example, privacy laws demand that an agency has valid reason for collecting, storing and sharing information about clients. Your workplace will have policies that state what information is collected, how information is collected, who receives information about a client's progress, how the information is stored, who may access the information, and how clients can make a complaint. There will be policies and procedures about where reports and documents should be filed or stored so they can be easily located and referred to. Many organisations use electronic systems that record client details, referrals, assessments and case notes in a client database. To protect the client's privacy and confidentiality, files are password protected so only authorised people can access the information. Australia is a multicultural society, and you will work with clients from many different countries and ethnic and cultural groups. A client's culture can influence how they behave, how they communicate, and how they want to be treated. For example, Indigenous Australians have a distinct and complex culture.
Come on, Uncle. Yep, put your arm in.
To work effectively with Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people, you need to understand and respect restrictions and rules about men's business and women's business, and respecting women's modesty. Clients using periods of silence and thought when making decisions, and using non-verbal cues to communicate. That direct questioning, making direct eye contact, or pointing at a person may be considered rude or disrespectful. The role of close-knit extended families, particularly in relation to the care and treatment of older relatives.
We like to create a pretty relaxed atmosphere. This is their home. A lot of the elders, in traditional Aboriginal culture, the elders aren't cared for in a facility. So the people that we have here are unable to be cared for by their family, or they don't have family.
Personal tasks, the men prefer to be showered by men and the women prefer to be showered by women.
You respect their privacy, you make sure they feel safe, you make sure they feel comfortable with who's caring for them. A lot of elders feel, one of our elders feels very threatened around any males at all, so around bathing time we make sure there's no males around her at all.
You should also be aware of and respect important cultural factors, such as the historical events and issues that continue to shape the lives of Indigenous people today, the importance and role of tribal elders in making decisions on behalf of the tribe or the group, the complex kinship rules about how each person relates to and should interact with everyone else in and outside the group, the need to respect a deceased person and their family by not directly talking about or naming the person and destroying any images of the deceased person. Being invited to use terms such as uncle and auntie as a sign of respect for older people in the community, even when they are not blood relations. A lot of these considerations, such as respecting women's modesty, respecting older people, and understanding the importance of the extended family, also apply to other cultural groups. As you can see, it is important that you learn about a client's culture so you can be sensitive to their cultural needs and can build positive and trusting relationships with them.